And there may be some highly advanced civilization that's in these vast oceans that we have yet to explore. Anything could be down there.
I think if anyone would know about aliens on Earth, it would probably be me.
I would think.
Yeah, I'm like,
In the vast expanse of space, Elon Musk has set his sights on conquering Mars. But it turns out that his interest isn't limited to just the red planet. In fact, the billionaire entrepreneur has recently discovered something massive lurking on the ocean floor, and it's raising eyebrows across the scientific community. The object in question spans miles in length, and no one knows for sure what it is or how it got there. Could it be the work of extraterrestrial beings, or is there a more plausible explanation? Join us as we delve into the mystery surrounding Elon Musk's latest discovery and what it could mean for us all. The oceans that cover over 70% of our planet are a mystery to us. They are vast, deep, and incredibly complex ecosystems filled with an abundance of life that we are only just beginning to understand. Despite the numerous advancements in technology and science, we have explored less than 5% of the world's oceans, leaving more than 95% unexplored. And it is home to bizarre and wondrous creatures that have adapted to extreme pressures, darkness, and cold temperatures that exist in the abyss. It's like stepping into an alien world with unique adaptations that are yet to be discovered. However, deep beneath the North Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of California, a mysterious 2.5-mile wide crawling circle lurks in the dark. Could it be under the control of aliens? That's what a Martian researcher suggests, and some theorists believe the object is parked outside an extraterrestrial base. Recently, Secure Team 10, a popular YouTube channel known for unexplained sightings, shared a puzzling video of strange lines on the ocean floor that resembled tracks left by a large vehicle. The YouTuber, Tyler, described the find as something truly out of the ordinary. While some suggest the lines are just sonar readings, others argue that the tracks are too deep and perfectly carved into the ocean floor, leaving eerie shadows that suggest the presence of something otherworldly. The video shows a massive saucer-shaped object buried 3,000 feet deep under the surface of the Pacific Ocean. To locate it, simply punch in the coordinates 4.250044 to 28.712918 on Google Maps, and you will see paths encircling the object, which some believe to be under the control of extraterrestrial beings. This appears to be dug into the sand and in the middle of this long path that leads over to this area that contains some very anomalous items. We saw a large circular object with an obvious path created by it. So we have this pattern carved completely out of the ocean soil that leads directly up to this almost perfectly circular object, said Tyler, the YouTuber who made the startling discovery. However, if it were just a rock, the path would not zigzag as it does, as Tyler points out. It begs the question, what is this massive object doing buried beneath the ocean, moving like this as if under intelligent control? The object measures 2.81 miles in length, but what makes it even more perplexing is that it appears to have traveled 46 miles from its initial location. The object, parked outside an alien base, is surrounded by other circular and donut-shaped objects. The purpose of this massive object remains a mystery, but what's more, Elon Musk has announced plans to fund expeditions to explore this anomaly, fueling speculation about what we might uncover. Now, we've all had our eyes glued to the sky searching for alien life, but what if they've been right under our noses this whole time? According to experts, 90% of our oceans remain unexplored, and it's quite possible that there's an entire alien system lurking beneath the waves. While some may scoff at the idea, others like Tyler and Scott C. Waring have found compelling evidence of underwater structures that suggest we're not alone. Recently, Argentine researcher Marcelo Igazusta made a mind-blowing discovery when he spotted a beam of light emanating from the Pacific Ocean, leading him to an enormous underwater pyramid off the coast of Mexico. Measuring up to 11 miles in width, this structure is so massive that it's hard to discern on Google Earth. However, Waring is convinced that the pyramid is the work of aliens rather than humans, citing its perfect form and proximity to the ancient Mayan and Aztec pyramids. Could this be the evidence we've been waiting for to prove that aliens have been on Earth all along? And this is not the only unexplainable discovery in the ocean. One such discovery is the strange marks on the sea floor at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean that no animal could have made. These marks resemble narrow troughs carved into the pale silt, and others could be claw marks carved into the deep ecosystem by an undersea monster. The sea floor is home to long-lived features that have gone largely unnoticed by humanity. Occasionally, they are illuminated by remote submersible spotlights, but then they return to darkness, and they've been there for a long time. These features, like footsteps and tracks left by the astronauts on the moon, are still visible today, with nothing to wash them away. And the marks below date back to the 1970s and 1980s, left behind by ships equipped with dredges and plows that have since departed. Scientists have recently returned with cameras and probes to investigate what happened to the local ecosystems, and what they have discovered are scars that have never fully healed. What will future generations think of them, and what will they say about humanity's resource demand in the early 21st century? To understand why these marks exist and why they matter, we must immerse ourselves in a prehistoric sea. The form of polymetallic nodules on the ocean floor is one of the Earth's slowest geological processes, taking millions of years for them to grow just a few centimeters. These nodules have become so abundant over time that they now cover large swathes of the ocean's abyssal plain. During the voyage of the HMS Challenger in 1873, these nodules were discovered, and though sailors brought them to the surface, they were nothing more than rocky potatoes with crumbling edges. Little did they know how important these nodules would turn out to be to deep-sea organisms and later to humans. The chemist on the expedition was among the first to notice that these nodules were not worthless and were in fact made of manganese peroxide, which is one of the primary substances used in the manufacture of bleaching powder. However, because of their remote location, they could never be made a paying source of supply. Years after their discovery, scientists revealed that these oceanic nodules serve as oases for certain forms of life. The abyssal plain on which they rest makes up a staggering 50% of Earth's surface, a scale so grand it's hard to grasp. Imagine if the seas vanished overnight, exposing a barren desert of sediment, but within it, the nodules offer a rare refuge where life can find a firm foothold. Crevices within them house exclusive sponges and mollusks, while nematode worms and crustacean larvae also call them home. They're like rock formations in a garden, drawing in an abundance of species, yet a greedy land mammal has taken notice of these nodules, needing them for their smartphone production. What that chemist from the 1800s didn't realize was that the nodules contain valuable metals like cobalt, nickel, copper, titanium, and rare earth elements, which are now high in demand. With the increasing demand for 21st century technology, there is also an increasing need for material like cobalt, which powers cars and electronics with lithium-ion batteries. Unfortunately, much of the cobalt comes from unethical sources. The Democratic Republic of Congo mines more than 60% of the world's cobalt supply from land-based mines, which have been linked to human rights violations and child labour. In light of this, oceanic nodules are becoming an attractive alternative despite the daunting engineering challenges. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone, CZZ, alone could contain about 20 billion tonnes of these nodules if removed and dried out. Although they were previously deemed uneconomical, several mining companies are now gearing up to extract them, along with other subsea mineral deposits, which could mean hundreds of square kilometres will be drenched each year. So what effect will a proposed deep-sea mining have on the fragile ecosystems of the ocean floor? It's a question that has been asked since the first tentative steps were taken in the 1970s and 80s by researchers and mining companies to assess the feasibility and environmental consequences of such activities. During those early efforts, specialized metal rakes and plows were dragged across the Pacific floor at various locations in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone to scoop up nodules and pull them to the surface. While these experiments did not exactly replicate the dredging machinery planned for future mines, and the scale was much smaller, they provided some of the best evidence available today. Researchers were curious about what would happen to an otherwise untouched ecosystem left behind the tracks in some cases, while mining companies were testing their extraction technologies in other cases. One such effort even involved the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, of the United States, as the Ocean and Minerals Company, OMCO, and an industry consortium led by what is now Lockheed Martin conducted test extractions on the Hughes Glomar Explorer. This ship later became famous for its attempts to lift a Russian submarine off the sea floor. Now, as plans for deep-sea mining accelerate and exploratory permission becomes available, researchers have returned to these specific locations to study the long-term effects. They found that even after decades, life in these artificial trenches has not returned to normal. The creatures that relied on the nodules, which have now been removed, are unable to recolonize. Others, which require soft sediment to burrow and find mobile food, are unable to survive on an artificially compacted surface. Communities living in these deep-sea areas, rich in nodules, are at great risk of extinction due to the mining operations that are being planned. The consequences of such activities could persist for centuries, if not thousands of years, according to experts. Barbara Adam, a sociologist, once characterized the world as a collection of timescapes that vary in pace. Industrial or agricultural timescapes move much more quickly than natural or ecological ones, she observed. While all of these time regimes are connected, when one is forced to operate at the pace of another, there is significant long-term environmental damage. In the case of deep-sea mining, the slow and patient pace of the deep ocean timescape is confronted by the fast short-term demand for new technology. Now let's hear your thoughts about this in the comments below.